If you're moving to Kansas City and looking for the best place to buy a home in, you've probably heard of suburbs like Overland Park, Lee Summit, maybe the Kansas City Northland. But what about the most expensive suburbs in Kansas City? The ones with luxury homes, stunning views, and lots of lakes. In this video, we'll be breaking down the top 10 most expensive Kansas City suburbs, what makes them so desirable, what are the home prices like, and why are buyers willing to pay top dollar to live there. Stick around until number 2 and number 1 on the list because there are some jaw-dropping multi-million-dollar properties. Starting with number 10 on the list, my personal favorite to say, it's very fun. It's called Lake Lotawana, Missouri.
Now this suburb comes in at the lowest median price of all the 10 on our list today. We'll break all that down here shortly. But a little bit about Lake Lotawana. So it's just straight east of Lee Summit, and that's one of the fastest growing suburbs in Kansas City. There's a lot of development going on there, a lot of shopping, a lot of dining, and that's just one reason that makes Lake Lotawana so desirable. The other thing is a little bit about the community. It's a community lake, so there's only about 2,000 residents that live there. Some people live full-time, others just have their vacation home there for that summertime, and it's all for that lake, which is 480 acres, 27 miles of shoreline, and just perfect for boating and fishing.
Yeah, and another thing that makes it different is because where it's located, because it's so close to Lee Summit, for those that do stay there full time, whether they make that commute to Kansas City, Missouri, which isn't really that far, it's like 30, 45 minutes or so, it does fall in the Lee Summit School District, which according to niche.com is one of the highest rated in Kansas City. But we mentioned the home prices, they're a little deceptive. The median price comes in the lowest on the list, $570,000. So we make our way throughout the video. We'll be unblurring the other suburbs so you can see how they all rank. But really, the prices range anywhere from $200,000 all the way up to the multi-million-dollar price point. And while there is a lot of development sort of around the 1930s, there's a lot of new construction today. But it's not all like lakefront. We'll show you one example in a second. A lot of the development is actually in the outlying areas of Lake Lotawana. The median days to sell, so the time to go under contract, is about 43 days on market, the longest on our list. And we do have an example of the highest sale over the past year. It sold for $2.1 million in January of 2025. And while it doesn't have any curb appeal whatsoever, you're just looking at a 4-car garage, which is nice. That's not the point of a lakefront property like this. This one is tier 1. It has a dock, tons of outdoor living space, over 5,000 square feet, completely remodeled throughout the interior. It is absolutely just gorgeous.
Number 9 on the list is Bucyrus, Kansas. And like we talked about with Lake Lotawana and how it's right next to Lee Summit, which is one of the most popular suburbs on the Missouri side, Bucyrus is right next to Overland Park, Kansas, which is arguably the most popular suburb in all of Kansas City, if not one of the most popular in the whole country. But Bucyrus is just south of Overland Park. It's about 15 minutes right off of 69 Highway. It's an unincorporated community. There's a lot of farm ground, and what we tend to see is a lot of homes are on 1 to 10 acre lots, and some homes are on some really big acreage.
We'll show you one in a second. It's got 2 addresses, but we got to save it for just a moment. One thing that makes Bucyrus different is it is a little bit further south than Overland Park. It's 15 minutes to the closest Costco, so you can't really argue too much with that one. But just like how we mentioned Lake Lotawana, there are a ton of other lakes on that Missouri side. In this area of Kansas City, there are a lot of unincorporated communities. In Overland Park, there's so much demand for it, a large part because of all the amenities, shops, restaurants, etc. But most of it, I think, is because of the Blue Valley School District. According to niche.com, it's rated as one of the highest in all of Kansas City. Many parts of Bucyrus fall into that school district. So as Overland Park continues to expand south, there's a lot of construction. Sometimes they're mega compounds. They're like 10,000 square feet plus. Sometimes they're new home communities. But that's where all of that development is heading, is to Bucyrus, Kansas. So leads us to the prices. They come in about $35,000 above Lake Lotawana. They're at $605,000, but you're getting a whole lot more land than being like 10 feet from your neighbor there. They're on the market for about 23 days, which is actually very quick to sell a property that's a little bit more rural, further outside of the centrally located parts of the city. But like we mentioned in the previous section, that median sales price, Jordan, it is entirely misleading.
Yeah, that's right. So 605,000 median price for Bucyrus. I mean, we've seen homes as low as $200,000 there, all the way up to 4+ million, like we're about to show you.
That's right. So we'll put this on the screen. Not just one, but you've got two separate addresses. It's over 10,000 square feet, just under 80 acres of land. There are bridges, there are bodies of water throughout it. Like this is like a traditional compound. It sold in June of 2024 for around $3.95 million. Just breathtaking views, soaring ceiling, wall of windows. You've got these Tuscany style finishes throughout. There's an elevator. I think the entire main floor has radiant heat, so heated floors. There is a massive outbuilding.
Coming in at number 8 on the list is Fairway, Kansas. Now, this is a very popular area, and it's located in northeast Johnson County. It's right in between Mission Hills and Roland Park. It's only like minutes away from the Country Club Plaza, and then also like 10 minutes from downtown. And Nick, I know that you grew up there, so you got a little info on it.
Yeah, I've got a lot of info on it. So my dad's a builder. We built our family home there in like 2008, which is great timing, but ended up selling it several years later. But anytime I drive down that street that I grew up on, completely unrecognizable at this point because there's been so much development. But you hit on it. What makes Fairway unique is it's so centrally located. Like in comparison, where we just talked about Bucyrus, Kansas, like people who choose to live in that area, Kansas City, they don't want to go that far south. They want to be centrally located. A big part of that, I think, is the high school, Shawnee Mission East High School. A lot of those surrounding suburbs like Mission Hills, one that we'll get to later on the list, Prairie Village, Leawood, also later on the list. They feed into that one high school. A lot of the families that grew up and went to that high school, they want to send their kids there. So that's a big part of it as well. You've got a bunch of country clubs surrounding Fairway, but we'll put a chart together. There are really three different parts. You've got Reinhardt Estates. So where you're going to find some of the highest home prices, especially as you get back closer to the Kansas City Country Club. You've got the Golden Triangle. Home prices are going to be a little bit less. The lots are a little bit smaller there. And then some of the least expensive home prices in Fairway are actually west of Mission Road. And that's where you can find new construction just over $1 million compared to like Reinhardt Estates where, you know, there was a sale 3 million plus. And we'll talk about that in a second. But Jordan, the median price point is $610,000. Entirely misleading because what that will likely get you is a home that's been renovated but has a single car garage. We believe those are functionally obsolescent. That's why a lot of those properties are being torn down and the brand new construction is taking place. The days on market, about 3 days on market. One of the quickest on, like they're going like that. So sometimes off the market. But Jordan, a lot of the homes built between the 1930s and 50s, and that's part of why many of them are being torn down.
Yeah, a lot of them were ranches, 1.5 stories, and like Nick said, they're pretty much obsolete to this day. And so you can find those homes anywhere from 250 to 600,000. If you do find one in that 250 to 300 range, it probably is a tear down that a builder's going to build a new construction home on.
And we've got a couple examples. So the highest sale in Fairway over the last year is actually $3.05 million. It had a circle drive. I think there was a pool in the back. But it was brand new construction. There were only renders. So there's not much to show you. So we've got a builder that we've featured on this channel dozens and dozens of times. Rozier Homes. Here's the house, $2.102 million. It's over 4,000 square feet. It sold in May of 2024. And it's got this huge wraparound front porch, beautiful elevation. Yes, it's only a 2-car garage. That's very common even at this price point in this area, but it had these soaring ceilings, French doors off the entry, and some very high-end finishes throughout. But before we move on to number 7 on the list, if we haven't met yet, my name's Nick.
And I'm Jordan.
And we help people buy and build homes all over the Kansas City suburbs. Just like we're talking about in this video, if there's a specific area, price point, location that you want to stay in, we would love to make it happen for you and put all this expertise at work for you. So feel free to give us a phone call, text message, email. We'd love to set you up for success, but we are going to move on to suburb number 7, which is Riverside, Missouri.
Riverside is located just on the north side of the river, about 15 minutes from downtown Kansas City. It's only about 10 minutes from the airport, and it's super close to Zona Rosa and then the villages at Briarcliff for just premier shopping and dining. The other thing I think that makes that location so popular is its ease of access to the rest of the city. It's really centrally located, kind of like what we talked about with Fairway.
Absolutely. One of my favorite parts of Riverside, and also I think this also branches into Parkville. that area, you've got this beautiful landscape, a lot of elevation changes, a lot of treetops, a lot of exposed cliff sides, which is very unique. But if you like nature, this part of Kansas City is just absolutely, I love it every time I drive down there, whether I've got a client building there, we're looking at homes, etc. But speaking of housing, their market is really split. There aren't a ton of opportunities for older homes. You'll see in just a second, but older homes, 250 to 500-ish. Most of what you'll find there for housing options is going to be brand new construction. We'll show you one property we were fortunate enough to tour, but the median prices, they come in at about $633,000. They're selling about as quick as we saw in Fairway in about 4 days, but most of these brand new construction homes, we're looking at million plus price points in Jordan. And we're going to put it on the screen right here. Edward Franklin, an entirely custom home. These guys are very unique. They excel in historical modern style housing. All the finishes inside, they were sourced from a bunch of different locations. We'd never seen a lot of them before. And it sold for $1.3 million in November in 2024.
Yeah, one of a kind home. Now, this was in the Palisades neighborhood, which has tons of hills and treetops and then beautiful views of downtown Kansas City. But that home, Nick, I mean, one of a kind, 10-foot basement tall ceilings. And then they've got another lot that they took down. They're going to build that home again, just a different variation of it that does have those views out of the backyard.
Yeah, and that's an important point. Is another thing that makes Riverside unique is you get views of the Kansas City skyline without having to be in Kansas City. Final thing here that makes Riverside different is that it's in the Park Hill School District, which is #1 in Platte County. So that's part of what's driving people there, but being that centrally located is a really big deal. That's why people are willing to pay those prices to live there. We're going to move on to #6. It's not too far away. It's just northwest, and it's called Weatherby Lake.
Like we talked about with Riverside, Missouri, Weatherby Lake is close to the airport. It's close to Zona Rosa and all the amenities, but it's also just straight north of Parkville. It's close to the National Golf Club of Kansas City. And Nick, it's a lake community. I mean, that's
impressive. Yeah, so quite a few different lakes in this area. I know we talked about like Lake Lotawana. There's going to be another one in that part of Kansas City, but this being north of the river and that close to downtown Kansas City, that is very, very unique. There's a very wide range of home prices, options. The example we're going to show you, it is the most unique property that we've probably seen, but you can find a lakefront property starting in the 700s as opposed to like the million plus price point in most other parts of Kansas City. So a lot of these homes were built in the 1930s in Jordan. While there are some vacant lots available, it's mostly built out.
Yeah, so Weatherby Lake, it's completely built out. There's no room for the city to grow, to have, new home communities built in there. So your only option really is to find a teardown, or if you can get in touch with one of these owners that hasn't built yet, you might be able to build your own home.
Just sitting on the lot for decades at this point. I mean, it's a smart move, but we'll put the prices on the screen. We're creeping up a little bit from Riverside. The prices are $675,000, $500 over the last 12 months. Days on market is about 22, and a large reason for why is either they're at a higher end price point or they're at a lower end price point. They just need some work, or they're just smaller properties, and it's very specific. But Jordan, one example of those properties, absolutely just beautiful. It's got a ton of curbs. We showed that Lake Lotawana property and didn't have curb appeal. This absolutely does. It looks like just a nature reserve in the front. The staircase is so unique. It is lakefront, but we just don't see anything like this these days.
No, and this thing was built in 1976, and it just the architecture and the design of it and the thought process back then, I mean, it's just very futuristic looking, I mean, even for today's time.
And while that is an anomaly anywhere in Kansas City, there are quite a few properties that will mimic that level of uniqueness. They just stand out. You're not going to find them all over Kansas City. I just thought that the curves there, the staircase, like everything that went into that, it would be very, very expensive to do today, but we are going to move on. We've got #5 on the list, and that would be Leawood, Kansas.
Leawood is located on the east side of Johnson County, right in between State Line and Overland Park. So easy access to all the amenities that Overland Park has to offer, which Leawood has a lot of its own as well. Pretty big city, stretches north and south. It's split by 435. We call the north side Old Leawood, and then the south side, you will find some new construction homes and new communities. That split's a big deal.
It is a big deal for many different reasons. The first is the north of the highway side, so Old Leawood. It's part of the Country Club Plaza district. So when Kansas City was first being developed, these were some of the biggest lots aside from Mission Hills. We'll talk about that later on the list, but you've got these huge lots, tons of frontage. So the width of the front of the lot is very big. Found a lot of side entry garages, estate-sized homes. The profile, the elevation of the homes is beautiful. You know, clay tile roofs. There's a very specific type of architecture in Leawood, and you'll find that reflected in a lot of the housing options throughout the city, even commercial buildings for that matter. But that part of Leawood falls in the Shawnee Mission School District. And when you go south of 435, it falls in the Blue Valley School District. We talked about that under Bucyrus, one of the most sought after districts according to niche.com. But south of 435 is where you'll find a lot of new construction. Now, before we get to the median prices, Jordan, we've been fortunate enough, there's like kind of an onslaught of new homes along 135th, which is one of the most popular streets there. We've been to Aventino. A lot of those homes are starting in like the 1.2 millions. They'll go all the way up to 3 million plus. You've got Regents Park, which are twin villas, and also single family homes now. Again, they're starting at like 1 million plus. East Village of Leawood is a new one, kind of like Meadowbrook and Prairie Village. It's like its own kind of city, all within a few different blocks of each other. But when we get to the home prices, the median is at $750,000.
Yeah, and these homes are only lasting about 5 days on the market. So very popular area. I mean, if you see one come up for sale and you're interested, you need to act fast. And Nick, there's a couple of notable neighborhoods too. You know, besides the new communities, we've got the Leawood Estates, which is going to be on the north side of 435. And that's where you're going to have those quarter-acre to half-acre lots. Those homes were built in the 1950s and 60s, and they range anywhere from 500,000 all the way up to 1 million plus. And then on the south side of 435, we've got Hallbrook, and these are some of the most luxurious homes that you're going to see all across Kansas City. They range anywhere from $1 to $5 million.
You know, we do have an example. I don't think it's in either of those neighborhoods, but it is absolutely beautiful. It's sold for just under $5 million over the last 12 months. It backs up to a private lake. It's over 7,500 square feet. You'll see what I'm talking about. This is like a classic estate style home. And not that all the homes look like this, but this type of architecture is what you'll see. You got this huge winding circle drive, like not even a side entry garage, it's a rear entry garage. And it is absolutely, it looks like a palace inside. You've got these super tall ceilings, these windows overlooking the lake. And this is, you'll find many properties at this level in Leawood, Kansas.
Number 4 on the list is Lake Winnebago. And like Lake Lotawana, it's right next to Lee Summit. Now, Lake Winnebago is on the south side. It's right off a 291 highway. And not a real big community. It's about a 400-acre lake. But what's really interesting about it compared to Lake Lotawana is they're building a lot of new construction out there.
That's right. That would be one of the biggest differences is there's been a huge recent expansion. They've opened up a lot of lots. They've opened up more shoreline where you can build these lakefront properties. Way more new construction in Lake Winnebago compared to Lake Lotawana. So that major difference. Lotawana is a little bit more secluded, a lot more variety, a lot more older homes. Lake Winnebago, a little bit closer, feels more like a suburb. Lots of new construction going on. Now, we will put the median price on the screen. It is quite a bit higher than Winnebago, as you can see on that chart, $915,000. Homes are selling about 32 days on market. When it comes to a lot of new construction, we don't even look at days on market because a lot of these new homes are listed as soon as they start construction. So it's a little bit of a misnomer, but it falls in 2 different school districts. So part in Lee Summit, part in the Raymore Peculiar School District, and we have quite the property to show you. However, the most expensive listing, it's like $3.8 million. It's by Walker Custom Homes. We featured them on the channel. It's being built, so we don't have actual pictures to show you, but it's huge. It's got a pool in the back. There are renders on the screen right here. But here is the most expensive listing. This is built by another top builder in Lee Summit, Pfeiffer Homes, $2.7 million. It is a resale property, so it's only been lived in for a year. Beautiful elevation. It's almost 5,000 square feet. Top of the line finishes inside and out. You've got a dock in the back. And I mean, you've just the most beautiful views ever. But in those drone shots, Jordan, you can see all the shoreline and all the lakefront lots that can still be built on.
Yeah, and that's very unique to this lake. I mean, most of these lake properties, they're all built out. And so there's not a lot of options. So having the option here at Lake Winnebago, it's just really nice.
Moving on to number three, it is Lake Quivira, and this one is located kind of in Shawnee, Kansas. I want to say it's in Shawnee, Kansas, but it's its own separate city. It's very close to all the things we mentioned about like Riverside and Weatherby Lake. It's very close to Legends, kind of close to the airport. It's also very centrally located in Johnson County. So it's inside the 435 loop. It makes getting around town very easy. But what makes it different from all the other lakes we talked about, surprise, right? The most expensive areas, and they're all lake communities. This one is a gated private community. It's a smaller lake. There's a country club built around it. You've got the beautiful 18-hole golf course there, and there are only about 1,000 residents.
Yeah, so 1,000 residents, 396 homes. And they started building homes back in the 1930s all the way into the 2000s. And they range anywhere from 600,000 all the way up to 2 million plus. And Nick, they come in at a median price of $975,000, 29 days on the market.
Yeah, taking a little bit longer, probably just because of that price point, but these aren't like the newest homes. Some of them have been remodeled, some of them are fully like move-in ready to go, then some will need a little bit of work. It's not like Lake Winnebago, like we talked about, where you'll find a lot of brand new homes. But one other thing is, we mentioned about 396 homes. They had about 14 sales in the last year, so it's kind of rare that properties do go up for sale. A lot of people like to live there. It is a community. You've got people driving around in golf carts. You've got that community feel, and there aren't a ton of private gated communities in Kansas City. So this is a pretty exclusive one. You've got the most expensive listing over the last year, $2.3 million, over 4,000 square feet. It is lakefront, but you'll notice in the drone pictures and just the overall photos that you've got a road behind it. But this one did happen to be upgraded. You've got lots of color, which is different to see. We don't always see lots of color, especially when we just do new construction a lot. But you can see the finishes, very unique. It feels like a lake house. And while some people might have second homes there, I'm willing to bet that a lot of people live there full time because of the community feel to it.
Number two on the list is Lockloyd, Missouri. Now, you may have heard of it because Patrick Mahomes built his home down there. It's a beautiful community. It's very private and exclusive, but it's located just south of Kansas City, right next to Overland Park and State Line Road. Easy access to all the amenities that you need. But Nick, kind of like Lake Quivira, it's private, it's gated. They've got a 100-acre lake and beautiful golf course designed by Tom Watson, who's a Kansas City native and a professional golfer that was quite successful.
Yeah, a golf course designed by him is a really big deal in this area. When it comes to the home prices, one thing that I noticed, I had a client that had some interest there. We started looking at some lots. They've unlocked quite a few new phases of the community. But what's interesting is Lockloyd is its own city. It was incorporated in the early 2000s. It was previously like in Belton, but they didn't like the Belton address. So I think that's part of what happened there. But part of it, they've got this brand new phase that falls in Johnson County in the Blue Valley School District. We talked about how big of a deal that was, but I looked at the lot prices and they were only like 500,000 or 600,000, which I get it. It sounds, but we're talking about like multi-million-dollar homes in the Blue Valley School District in a gated community, the same community that Patrick Mahomes lives in. These are like 1 to 2 acre lots and sometimes more than that. I just thought that was unique, but you've got a variety of different home styles, anywhere from 550 all the way up to 5 million plus, and I'm willing to bet probably double that for some of the properties. But the median price comes in at $1.2325 million. The days on market about 27, but a lot of that is new construction. These are the types of homes where you need a proof of funds letter in order to go and schedule a showing. That's the caliber that we're talking about for most of these here. But you'll notice that of the new construction homes, we'll show you an example. These are like elite level builders. These are not builders that you're just going to see, 10 homes a year. It's like a few homes a year, very high end. A lot of what they're doing are only custom build jobs or very high end spec homes. And that's exactly what this one is. It just sold for under $5.9 million in September of 2025. It's by Cecil and Ray, a top ultra luxury custom home builder in Kansas City. Just under 7,000 square feet, custom top of the line finishes, everything that you could expect from curb appeal, the stone on the front, the pool, the outdoor living space, the fire pit out back, even has a golf simulator, lake views, and all the top of the line finishes throughout.
Number one on the list is Mission Hills, Kansas. And this is where you're going to find some of the most exclusive and expensive properties in all of Kansas City. It's located in Northeast Johnson County. It's about 10 minutes from the plaza. It's right next to Fairway, which we talked about earlier, and it's surrounded by three of Kansas City's most popular country clubs. The other thing is, it's also one of the oldest communities in Kansas City. It was designed in 1910 by J.C. Nichols, who was the developer of the Country Club Plaza.
That's right. There you've got a lot of elevation changes, lots of hills, extensive landscaping throughout the streets. You're just seeing a lot of shade as you drive through there. Some very unique homes. You've got this incredible blend between historic homes that have been fully renovated. We'll show you an example here in a second. Some of them have been fully restored. So not the ones where you see like the Tudor style and they've like made it completely modern with like floating vanities. No, like completely restored historically. You've got some properties that are on the historical register. The really big impact of this being part of the Country Club Plaza district, we talked about how Leawood was also part of that. These were like the more estate version lots than what we discussed in Leawood. So the final kind of third leg of this stool here is you've got a lot of new construction. There are some teardowns. There are some highly luxurious homes that are being built there. And again, we're not talking like the type of builders that we typically show in new home communities. We're talking builders that oftentimes are coming from either out of state or that are very selective, that are only doing a number of properties every single year. It's very unique architecture throughout.
What's nice about these new construction homes in that area too, they like to take the same architectural designs that they used back in the day so that the homes really conform to the neighborhood.
I'm sure that's a battle when it comes to the city approval, but the median price, $1.4475 million. We like to be exact, okay? We could have said 1.5, but we didn't. Days on market is about 3. These properties go very quickly. We're going to show you one that's been on the market for a little bit of time, but at that median price, you're getting a home that's going to need some work, or it's going to be a home that's just being bought for land value alone. You can find them as low as $650, but you're going to probably level that and build your own custom home there, or it's just not going to be the best lot for something like that. They go all the way up to over $10 million in the last 2 years. There was one sale there that definitely hit like somewhere in the neighborhood of the 9s, which is that's like as expensive as properties in Kansas City can really get. But we have not just one, but 2 examples to show you. The first one, this was sold November 25th of 2024 for around $6.5 million, 1.22 acre lot, over 10,000 square feet. It's a 2-story built in 1951. All brick exterior. You can see some of the historic finishes that have been restored a little bit on the inside. This highly resembles some of the properties that you'll see throughout the city of Mission Hills. And Jordan, we've got the second one.
Currently on the market, this home is active for sale at $6.65 million, 5 beds, 5.5 baths, it's over 6,000 square feet. It's been completely redone. It has the Tudor exterior style architecture, and then on the interior, totally redone. I mean, beautiful finishes.
Yeah, modern finishes throughout, but that is all for this video. Any questions buying, building a home in Kansas City? We would absolutely love to help, whether it's one of the suburbs on this list or one of the suburbs that most people have never heard about. There's a phone call, text message, email, and we'd love to set you up for success. Speaking of those, these are where you'll find some of the most affordable home prices in Kansas City. This is the video YouTube thinks you'd enjoy the most, so click here or there, and we will see you on the other side.